Hey guys, it's Jamie here, and I thought we would see how quickly we could put an art journal page together using some of the Winter Forest kit and scraps. So I have my scrap box here, one of them, and I'm going to put some papers down, which I nearly always do as a base because I don't like white pages. All these are already torn up and in a box, and they happen to be reasonable colours for what I'm going to do. So without getting too stressed, we're going to see how quickly we can put an art journal page together. This is Mod Podge that's going on here. I'm starting to decant some of my materials into jars because the containers they're in are big and it's awkward. You can use any glue stick, anything you want. Matte medium will also stick things down. And we're starting to build up some kind of background in layers. If you've watched anything like I do before, you'll know that I'm experimenting, and often you won't end up seeing this and you'll be wondering why on earth put it down in the first place. And it's simply because it takes away, for me, the fear of white space. It's covered that up reasonably well. Everything's stuck down reasonably well. I found in the papers this, and I thought we could tear along here and get at least a bottom border, if not a top one. I might and I might not use all of it. So what I might do is do half and half, mirroring each other. I don't need to prime this because I'm using the Mod Podge as primer. I'm just wondering about sticking one in that corner as well, or is that too much? Could do a small piece in the corner maybe. One reason we're doing this is every month, at the beginning of the month, I buy a ridiculous amount of stuff for the junk journal tutorials and also art journaling or whatever else I think I'm going to be doing. I've just bought these soft pastels. I wanted to give these a go. I also, as usual, want to use my white gesso. I tend to use fingers. I will put that, because it's on the brush, on here. What I'm looking to do is just soften some of this background. As you can see, the white gesso is slightly translucent. So if you want it stronger, you're going to want to get in there and put it on quite thickly, but that creates ridges, textures, which if you're then adding colour and using water with that colour will help create interesting patterns. However, today what I thought we would try to do is, and I am putting a lot of white on, I do understand that, and I may want to take some of that off in a second. I thought we would take these basic colours that are here already. So we've got blues, greys and beiges. So take a beige, scribble it next to the wet white gesso and then move it in and see what happens, if anything. Don't know that anything much is happening, we will see. Apart from it moving the white gesso. It's sort of vaguely tinting it, but that's okay. What I might have to do is dry this off and try it dry. I'm hoping this is now going to be dry enough, and this might may or may not work. So the idea was going to be to just add some light tints randomly. Yeah, it's still scratching through some of this, so it's not fully dry. To this page and see how I feel about the effect. Palish blue. I don't know how I'm feeling about this at the moment. I've never used chalk pastels, so this is new. I don't know that I feel this is working for me at the moment, but we will see. I'm not going to disparage the idea completely just yet. Throwing through some greens. We're going to see where we get with this. I'm liking the green effect. What I want is a stronger browny sandy colour. That's a bit too yellow still. I've got this caramelly colour. That might work. Oh yeah, that might work. How am I feeling about this? The green's disappearing now, of course. I feel it blends. That's how I feel. I'm not sure I love it. Something a bit brighter. Maybe that'll help. Don't know. I think I like the brighter one, which would tell me to hit a brighter green. That's not very wintry, is it? I think we're going to go back in with some white gesso and see what happens if we go over pastels with white gesso, and if we're going to get the effect that I was thinking of, and I think we are, which was this smoky, splodgy colour. I think I've knocked out a lot of the design. I'm not disliking that now. I do feel by doing this background we've lost a lot of those papers underneath. So what I quite fancy doing is getting some ink stamping onto it. We're going to try the Memento London Fog Grey, and if that isn't satisfactory we'll move to probably a black. Randomly stamp some bits. Yeah, you can see it a little bit, which is all we need. Leaving basically, because I'm doing it in the grey, some very, very subtle shadowing. And then I might try it with a bit of black as well. That one I have a VersaFine for. We don't want too much. Oh yeah, the black pops, doesn't it? Having said we don't want too much, I've done loads. For the main focus point, I do actually have the owl, and he's quite blues and browns and this background's quite green. I was thinking this background might be a bit too green for winter forest colours. It's like winter forest springs to life. So I found this napkin, and you can see I've used some of it already, but I don't know where. And I thought we might add some of this colouring to it. Other than do my usual tearing, I'll add the water and tear. I think my son suddenly decided to print something. Great. Maybe if we do something down the middle. That basically doesn't cover over the green completely, but will tone it down. My Mod Podge. Got a feeling there might be a lot of printing suddenly going on, because I know what he's printing now. I've just looked at the printer. He's doing it remotely, so I had no idea that was about to happen. Sorry about the background noise. Let's see if we can get this on with as fewer wrinkles as possible. Quite cool. It needs a top coat. Now I feel like I'm beginning to get somewhere. I am going to rough up my edges using an emery board. Going to try just putting some white gesso around edges of this, and if I don't like this bottom bit, then I'll patch in some of that dark green from another napkin. But we'll try just going with a central white gesso look. See how I feel about that. Literally gonna dump some down. I'm either gonna love this or hate it. Okay, part of me does want to fill in that dark bit. I think I can make that work. I'll just come back in with the tiniest of bits of the white gesso, or in theory the tiniest of bits. Okay, how are we feeling? You do not have to have these. You could use watercolour crayons, just normal watercolour. These are Stabilo Woodies. I think they're kids' pencils. I still think there's too much green in this, so I thought we'd bring some blue down into it. And because it's now got wrinkles and things in it due to the napkins and all the gesso and things, it might make for some interesting effects. Just adding water and pulling it through this. Don't want to get rid of the green completely. Kind of want it to still have that wintry feel, that's all. I think a bit of blue might do the trick. I'm watering it down a lot. Got a green here. We're going to see what that does over some of these areas. Okay, I don't mind that green quite so much, but I do want to look at a brown and a black. And then the black. And they certainly deposit a lot of colour. I'm beginning to love this now. We'll be going a bit round this top because I can't resist a bit of a frame. Turn it this way, turn it back this way. Now we're getting an effect. I'm going to bring this one over this way. I'm literally turning my papers round and down, and the same on this side. Oh wow, that's looking pretty cool now. I can't believe that happened. My phone obviously ran out of storage, so you haven't seen this area that I've just done. What I did was I took one of the Winter Forest fussy cuts, cut it very, very tightly around the central shape, then took tiny bits of the napkin and edged around the house, added a bit of white gesso, couple of the watercolour pencils very lightly around it as well, so it all blended and merged. Add a phrase, a beautiful day begins with a beautiful mindset. Done a bit of scribble around that to help it stand out. May or may not have seen the extra stamping I did. It was just the stamping that I'd done before done again. I edged the whole thing with a permanent ink stamp in nautical blue because I couldn't find my khaki. I used some white gesso to splatter some snowflakes, which you've seen me do before anyway. So everything I've just done that was missed in the recording was part of the earlier recording, just repeated when I added that little cottage. Only extra that hasn't been on this video so far was the white splatter and the nautical blue edging. I'm really sorry that my video failed to record that bit for you. We will do another one another day and hopefully you'll get the full recording. Bye!